Hello, good people of YouTube and internet land. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Lomography Digitaliza Plus. When I received this today, I thought, how serendipitous that this would arrive today, because I have literally just earlier today finished shooting my test roll of HP5 through this Canon Demi-S that I repaired the other day, which you may have already seen depending on which video gets uploaded first. It might be this one, it might be this one. So yes, the first test roll will be the one to be digitalized on this. Ooh, exciting. This is a film scanning setup, a portable film scanning setup. And the reason I decided to get this is because my current Heath Robinson digital camera scanning setup, I do actually have a film scanner, but it's quite an old one. The resolution's a bit rubbish nowadays. And lately I've been using my digital camera to scan, in inverted commas, the negatives and digitize them. And I've been using a bit of a Heath Robinson setup using my tablet as a backlight and a film, what do they call it? A mask, film mask, for the 35mm and the 120 roll film negatives. And the problem with that is if you happen to have the film too close to the light source, it actually shows the pixelation of the screen, because it's an RGB screen. It's a screen. It's not just a white light source, you know. And that annoys me. I can see that when I zoom in. Other people have said, oh, I don't really notice it, but I certainly do, and it kind of bugs me a little bit. Now, this thing here, the Lomography Digitaliza Plus, is a budget entry level into film scanning with the camera. And the total cost of this from Lomography website to me in the UK was £79 sterling. And that was purchased by me. This is not a hi guys, Lomography reached out to me and asked if I could review it. No, this is mine. I purchased this based on looking at the website and looking at the deals and everything else. And £79 might seem a lot of money, but when you consider that this contains the masks and film transport system to digitize 35mm and 120 roll film, including 35mm, including the sprocket holes and in panoramic view. The light source, which can be powered by AA batteries or a USB power source, such as a power brick or a plug. And the whole package is actually as cheap or cheaper than some of just the light sources for other packages, whose name I won't mention, but some of the others I looked at were more expensive for just the 35mm film transport system. So anyway, enough of the waffle. Let's get onto the bench, open up this box, and you guys can see along with me what we get inside here, because I've not opened this yet. So here we go. On the bench is the Digitaliza Plus with 35mm film holder, 120 film holder and backlight panel. And inside the box, when you open it, we have got a couple of cards. Scan this code to access the online manual of your Lomography Digitaliza and Lomography Digitaliza Max. The Digitaliza Max, incidentally, I will just mention, it's this but with a stand, but the stand is only for smartphones. Now that's all fine and dandy if you want to scan your shot film with a smartphone, but if you're serious about it, then frankly you just know that a shot from a smartphone is going to be pants. And don't get me wrong, I think it's amazing the way that smartphones have advanced and that the cameras on them truly are fantastic nowadays. They really are. But the simple fact of the matter is, resolving power is all about the lenses and the image sensor size. So it doesn't matter how many megapixels you cram into an image sensor the size of your small fingernail, the little tiny lens and the little tiny sensor on a smartphone is not going to render the detail that you want for high detail. So anyway, that little grumble aside, we've got in the top of this 24 by 36 film mask for 35mm film, a 127 film mask. We'll pop those aside, and then we have got oh, it's like Christmas, unwrapping all the presents. So I'm picky about this kind of stuff. I don't like tearing the wrapping. I'm literally like this with Christmas presents as well. So apologies, bear with me. Okay, so this is the transport system. Whoops, move that lid out of the way. This is the transport system, which contains within it a spirit level bubble, a two-way spirit level bubble, which actually comes out like so. Now, I happen to know that because I've seen that on the website. So you can actually pop this on the back of your camera to also make sure that your camera is level and straight looking at your film plane, which is nice. And then you've got your transport system here, so you feed your film in one end, this end I think, and then you wind this and it rolls your film through. We're going to try some in a moment. I'll need to get some, I'll need to get a roll of film to try, but bear with. So that's that bit, which means that the last remaining bit here has to be the base and light, which means we can get rid of the box. So I don't know why I'm so picky and try to be careful about this, because obviously once I've tested it and I know it's okay, I'll just throw this paper away, but hey. And here we've got the Hold Me Tight base. How nice. It has a 35mm panoramic diffuser, which lifts out like so. Okay. And is that a clip? Oh, so it is. Oh, right. I think this is for when you're scanning the 120 roll film. I think you remove this, or perhaps flip it around, maybe? I'm not sure. I will check. I will double check with the online instructions. I think you just remove this. Oh, cripes. I don't think I should have done that. Hang on. Oh. Bear with technical difficulties. We will return shortly with the scheduled programming. Let's pretend that didn't happen, shall we? This is obviously for the 120 roll film, which you put in here and you clip that down there. And this has got magnets, quite strong magnets. You can hear that snap into place. And then obviously that's your 120. I'm assuming that's designed for sitting this on the top, which locates with these little slots here, and also has magnets to hold it in place. So you can see the entire thing attaches very, very securely. I like it. I like it already. It's all plastic, with the exception of the magnets, of course, which are not plastic, because there's no such thing as plastic magnets, as far as I'm aware. So it's all plastic with a little anodized aluminium winding knob to roll the film through. But it's good sturdy plastic. It's nicely made, nicely finished, and it certainly does not appear cheap in any way. And then here we have got the AA battery compartment, and here we have got AA batteries. Now these are an old pack of AA batteries that I happen to find that are well out of date and probably past the best. So if these don't work, I will have to go and hunt out some newer ones, which I do believe I have somewhere. But I just wanted to grab these and try them for the moment. So we need to go that way and, whoops, that way and that way. Oh, holding them in place so they don't jump out. And then we can put that on and, oh yes, nice. And then if you, the little switch is here and you have to press it in. And that works, it lights up. Here we go. Oh, nice. Hang on, I'm going to turn this light off. Excellent, you can see that a little bit better now. And obviously then with the 35mm film transport doofera on top, it looks like that. So apparently what you can do is transport the film, the 35mm film through like this, which will allow you to photograph the whole thing, including the sprocket holes and panoramic views, if you happen to have taken a panoramic 35mm of whatever dimension that is. I'm not sure what that is off the top of my head. But then if you just want it to do the necessary bits and bobs, you've got these masks. So you would clip in that 35mm mask, clip that on, and then that just lights up the actual 36x24 image. So yeah, this is looking good. I'm liking this. I'll probably ultimately end up using the USB connector to power this, but it's kind of nice to know that you can just carry this anywhere as an all-in-one solution and use batteries if you want to digitize film on the go. So say for example you've gone away on holiday somewhere, something of this size with the appropriate mask or without is not going to take up much room in your bag with a couple of batteries. And then the only other thing you need is a tripod and your camera, and you can digitize some film. And that's kind of cool. I like that. Whereas all the other systems seem to be a bit more dedicated, bigger and beefier and made out of alloy and what have you, which is nice, don't get me wrong. But as I say, the prices, big difference there, and obviously the bulk. So far, I'm impressed with how this looks. That's a nice, beautiful, even diffuse light. And what I need to do now is I'm going to leave that out and I am going to get some, right, I see, so that's the panoramic diffuser. So if you do actually do the panoramic thing, you leave that one in. What I'm going to do now is grab some 35mm film strips and we're going to slide some in and have a look. We're back with some 35mm film. This is Agfa Vista Colour because it just happens to be the last roll that I developed, which was a colour roll. This was actually an old one that's been sitting a while. So, but for test purposes, this will do just fine. So what I'm going to do is switch this little light off again so that hopefully this will show a little bit better, and I'm going to feed in the 35mm film at this end. Oh, and it just grips it and starts sucking it through. Oh, I like this. I like this. Oh, look at this. How cool is this? Look at that. So this is with the stock mask. All right, so looking at that appears to be, oh, that's handy. You can actually pull it back a wee bit. Probably advisable not to. That's almost the width of 2 frames. It's probably 2 full frames together. So that would make it 36. That's 72. So that would make it 24x72 for your panoramic views. But that, as you can see, that is the entire thing, sprocket holes and all. That's fantastic. I love that. And what I'm going to do just now is I'm going to pop that out. I'm going to pop the stock 35mm frame in and light it up again. And with that one, as you can see, you've got the exact 35mm frame. How cool is that? Do you know, I know I'm kind of like a kid at Christmas at the moment, but this is just incredible. I love it. And as I say, for the cost, I mean, it's not. I know it's not cheap. £79 not cheap. That's including shipping, and that's EU shipping, of course, because this company is based in Lomography. Where are they? Where are you? I think it might be the Netherlands. It might be. Do you know? I'm not 100% sure. I'll have to double check on that. But they are in the EU, and we, being Britain with a Tory government, are not. Thanks Boris. So yeah, so we've now got VAT and import and everything on everything that comes in, and unfortunately it means everything costs a lot more. So £79 delivered directly from Lomography, and I don't think that's bad for a full package like this, especially considering the alternatives and the cost of the alternatives, which are much more expensive just for the carrier alone before you even start looking at a light source. Manually adjusting the ISO here so I can kind of get a bit of a better idea. I'll actually get the macro lens on and show you a close-up of this. I think that would work better, but that is super neat, and that is going to make scanning 35mm incredibly quick and effortless compared to my old setup, which involved manually moving the carriage for my old scanner with the strip of 6 images in. I can see there's a little bit of curl there, a little bit of film curl. What I will most likely do is scan the entire roll when I develop it before I cut it into strips for storage in my negative storage folder, which should minimize the curl aspect of it. What I'm going to do just now is pop on the macro lens and scoot in close so you can have a really good look at that. And then I will, once I've got the other film developed, which is from the Demi-S, which is a half frame camera, what I will do is show the setup with the tripod and camera and everything. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. We'll figure something out, but I'll do that, and then show you the scanned results, of course. So here we are with the macro on, and I've taken the 35mm mask off just so you can see the fabulousness of the sprocket hole. To the best of my knowledge, that is not something that the other film transport I have looked at does. I most certainly will be using that. I'll probably use the mask as well when I want to go right in tight and fill the frame to get the highest resolution image I can on certain images. But yeah, I'll definitely be making use of that visible sprocket hole feature. How cool is that? I like it. I like it. Just for the sake of completeness of this close-up, we'll do the 35mm thing, just because, you know. And there you go. Look at that. Initial thoughts, maybe the backlight could be brighter, but when all's said and done, it's a nice even light right across the entire, that looks like a 6x7, I think, right, and it's very nice even lighting right across the whole 6x7 frame. So that is indeed 6x7. So obviously you can scan medium format frames up to 6x7. I tend to shoot 6x6 in my medium format anyway, so that will be absolutely fine. It's nice even lighting, Possibly could be brighter, but maybe the batteries I've got in are just a bit crapper than I thought. So it might well be that when I use it with a power source or some better batteries, it is a little bit brighter anyway. And ultimately that doesn't really matter much, because when you've got your camera tripod mounted, you set it on a timer, and it doesn't matter if the shutter duration is 2, 3, 4, 5 seconds, because it's on a timer and it's nice and steady. So, but I'm impressed so far, I really am. Nice minimal packaging, which is good. I know some people like fancy OTT packaging. I'm not a fan, just purely for the fact that it's really not necessary. So nice minimal packaging, cardboard box, paper wrapping, all goes in the recycling, which is great. All good for the environment, so that's nice. And gives you that warm fuzzy glow inside. The only thing that I don't know I could imagine would be a problem would be the film transport system, and I'm guessing, I haven't taken this apart, but I have a sneaking suspicion that that film transport system is provided by little rubber O-rings on runners that grip the edge of the film. I might be wrong, but it looks like you can undo that and take a look at that. I'm not going to do that, but in future, should the need arise, I'm quite happy to. The next step is going to be getting this film developed that is sitting and waiting from my lovely new Canon Demi S. Look at that, isn't it beautiful? Little beautiful half frame goodness. And hopefully I will have got some nice images from this, I hope. Because I can see me using this camera a lot. If so, it's a really, really nice little camera to use, and it slips into your pocket nicely as well. Obviously not the pocket of your trousers, unless you wear very, very capacious MC Hammer type trousers with huge pockets, but I'm talking about your jacket pocket. So, right, onwards with the next step. Alrighty, slight fib, I couldn't resist, I had to show a medium format in here. So this is some Ilford FP4, I think. Sorry, this is Pan F Plus, which I shot in a Bronica SQA 6x6, and this is just on the base. Yeah, I think these batteries are definitely a little bit. You can see that dimming when I tap it. These batteries are definitely not the best. And that's just on the base without the film transport bit, which is here. Obviously, this is going to be a little bit less quick with medium format, because you have to lift the magnetic doofer and then move your slide over manually, like so, to the next frame before clamping it down with the magnets. But you know, it's not unpleasantly cumbersome or anything. It works. It's quite good. So there you go. Yeah, excellent. Here we can see the setup, the simple setup at the bench, with the Digitalizer levelled on the bench, the camera facing down on the tripod above it, and also levelled with the spirit level. And obviously the one from the Digitalizer pops out, but I do have a separate little one here that I use on my poising tool, so I just use that for ease of use at the time. And then onto the negatives, remembering these are half frame 18 by 24 negatives from the Demi S, and the first one came out very nicely. The subsequent ones, all these subsequent ones are actually underexposed, and I use the meter on the camera itself, so having to push that quite a bit, you can see the grain is very apparent. But all in all, I'm still very impressed with the fact that a very, very tiny negative like this gave such a pleasing overall image. This is also shot on Ilford HP5 Plus, which is quite a long expired bulk roll that I use for testing purposes when I get new cameras, or rather new old cameras as it were. So a bit grainy, as you can see, but overall I'm quite pleased with these. And as we go through to the last few. These are starting incidentally at 100% zoom, so at the starting point you're seeing the grain at 100% magnification on your screen. Now obviously a half frame negative wouldn't be printed to a humongous size, so it is quite acceptable when viewed at a respectable distance. That there is a seagull that tried to mug me for my food in a Tesco car park. Lovely chap, there you go. It was actually quite friendly, I've got to be honest. And moving on towards the end of these black and white ones, the one at the very end, which we'll get to shortly, is an odd double exposure, which I wanted to include because I thought it was kind of cool. It was unintentional, and as I actually wound on to the last exposure, I heard the teeth skip, and you can actually see, if you look at the sprocket holes, when we get to that particular one, you can see the marks in the sprocket holes where the teeth skipped, giving this funky double exposure kind of look to it. I believe it's the one after this one right here. Yeah, there we go. And I quite liked that. I thought it was quite interesting. And just for further comparison, I've added some colour 36 by 24 standard 35mm scans here, and you can really see the advantage of scanning with the sprocket holes with colour film, because you get that lovely sort of colour striping and the banding and the numbering top and bottom, and I just think that looks really nice. As you can tell, I do need to practice a little regarding evening out the colour rendition, but I am currently working my way through a new piece of raw software called Raw Therapy, PEE, which is a free raw editor, because the raw DPP, which I did use, does not have the ability to flip the negatives in the software, so that has to be done in Photoshop, which is a bit of a nuisance. So I'm trying to get everything done in the raw editing software, but overall I'm quite pleased with the look of these. And there you have a selection of images. So to wrap up, and final thoughts and observations on the Lomography Digitaliza Plus, do I think it's good value? Yes, absolutely I do. Yes, it's primarily plastic, but it's good quality sturdy plastic. I have my reservations about the battery door because, as we know, these things can break, but you know, worst case scenario, a little bit of sellotape. I like the fact that it runs on batteries and USB, so you have an option of AA batteries which are readily available anywhere and everywhere, a USB cable from a power bank, or a USB plug. And that's nice, it gives you an array of options, so no matter where you want to set it up, you know that you will have a power source for the light. The light is nice and even. The images that came out were very good. The transport system worked particularly well, but one thing I did notice, and this ordinarily won't be such a huge problem, but when I scanned through the colour negatives, I had 2 short strips of 3 images. The reason for that being, I did a clip test with some old expired C41 chemistry. So ordinarily, you wouldn't have such a short length of images. And I discovered that 3 negatives is precisely, of 24 by 36, is precisely the right length to float between the transport rollers of the 35mm transport cage. And while initially that was a little frustrating, it's not actually such a major problem because the sprocket holes are visible, meaning that all you need to do is put something in the sprocket holes and nudge it along just enough so that the rollers will grip it and transport it back through again. I used a Q-tip, or cotton bud as we call them in the UK, to do that, so that I was minimal risk of damaging the film. That's something to be aware of if you do happen to have short strips of negatives. You need to be aware that you need ideally a minimum of 4 negatives to ensure that it grabs the runners either side of the actual window. But other than that, I've really got no complaints. I think it's very well made. I like the packaging's quite nice, simple, elegant, and not wasteful. and it's nice and light and compact enough to throw into a bag if you're heading somewhere where you might shoot some film and develop it and want to scan it. I'm very impressed with it. I would recommend it. I would recommend that you buy it direct from the Lomography store, the Lomography store website, that is. And if you're in the EU, obviously you won't have the import duties to pay as I did, so it's that's an added bonus there. I believe there's also a US sort of base as well, so if you're in the US you could probably order it without import duty, but I'm not 100% sure on that, so don't quote me on that one. But very much worth it if you want to start scanning your film, and especially if you use 35mm and 120. So overall I would give this a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10. Without a shadow of a doubt, and only marked down ever so slightly just because the medium format fitment is just a little bit fiddly. One thing I noticed when I tested my medium format from the Bronica earlier is, and this is just obviously something that was with the camera, that the square was not exactly centered, which meant I got a gap on one side and the actual edge of the image buttered right up to the edge, maybe just lost 0.5 millimeter of that edge at the other edge of the mask. Not a huge thing, not a massive problem, and not enough of the image to be concerned about, but you know, just worth mentioning nonetheless. So I hope you found this useful. I'm aware it's quite a long video, but hopefully I've been as thorough as possible, and obviously reviewing this as someone who's bought this rather than someone who's been given this to just do a review on. Hopefully you'll find that very useful and helpful and informative. So thank you very much for watching, and join us for the next video, and who knows what that might be. I would like to get some more watch videos done, but I do have some watches to clear out of the way, and then I'm hoping to actually concentrate on a couple of my own which I wish to video, but we'll see how that goes. So thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.